There you got me there, guys. Sorry I'm talking a little bit quiet. The bubba is just next door. You should have me there, hopefully. It's on the phone, can't see my face. Alright, just a quick video this afternoon. It's going to be in regards to social media and the way in which I advertise and have done for the past 2 years almost, and how much that has helped fast track everything. How and when to post will be touched on a little bit. I've got my little notes here ready to go, just to touch on a couple of things for you guys, and then the footage that will be attached to this video is of a large painting job that we've been doing, a large deck restoration job we've been doing, window frame restoring and painting. There's going to be plenty sort of shown in that footage, but as you'll see in the footage, a lot of it gets cut short as the camera that I have separate to the phone, obviously, it only has a 3-hour battery life. So with that, it doesn't take long to chew up 3 hours when you're painting or doing deck restoration. So it randomly will cut out here and there. I've gained a little bit of extra footage where I could on the last little remaining bit of battery that I had, to hopefully show you guys just another method that we use, which is, I spoke about in the previous video, the best method is to do your edges first. But in this one you'll see the painting, to get ahead for me, when I had a helper with me, it makes it easier for them to see what clearly needs to be done if you go ahead and roll first. And as long as when you're using the roller, they're coming along and cutting in while the paint's still semi-wet, you're never going to get a look that you can easily pick where you've cut in and where you've rolled, and you don't want any of that when you're doing painting. So that's the main reason I cut in first, because I can blend the roller a lot tighter to the edge, and it's just the best method that I truly believe is what you want to do going forward. But there are instances where you can use the roller first, get the bulk done, and that helps too with motivation to see your results real quick, and it gets you excited to know that definitely going to get 2 coats on this today and things like that. So there's ways around that, especially when you're working on your own, just to keep your motivation as high as you can, and to make it feel like you're getting somewhere, because cutting in can be painful and slow. So this is just another way to sort of combat that, as well as show a clear indication for whatever helper you might have with you. They can clearly see where they need to paint, so they don't have to guess how wide they've got to paint and do their cutting in and things like that. So that's just another little tip of that. So we'll roll on now to this social media information. A lot of people have asked about it via and reaching out through Facebook Messenger, which is a big thing on here I'll talk about, which is demographics and age groups and who is using what platform. So Instagram, Facebook, and you've got all the rest with the YouTube followers, and then other people that are still on LinkedIn and things like that is starting to develop up and become a bit more of a mainstream outlet to use and utilize. So there's plenty to talk about, but I'll be as quick as I can, and then we'll roll into the footage because there's plenty to edit, and that's what's uploading now. So we'll go on to this. I'm just comparing the new age advertising to the old age outdated advertising, which is, and it still has its place for some people, but for me, advertising in the newspaper, we tried, obviously, just because you thought that was what you had to do when we started the business. It was just another avenue that we did to get more word of mouth, more clients. But what I found was that demographic, and you could guess it before we did it, we knew it was going to be, and it was the older age group bracket. Now they wanted handyman jobs, but they wanted a random fly screen repaired on one door, on one window, not like a whole house, not a whole house to be window cleaned or anything like that. It was always random little jobs. And to begin with, when I started the business, I took what I could get, built up what I could, and then I started to get picky and choosy with what I wanted to focus my time and attention on to help the greatest number of people. Because I was finding I was going to do these jobs and it was never just that. It was always, oh, can you do this way here? Can you do? And then you're trying to do the right thing, and that's the thing too. You're always battling in business when you are a nice person in general to try and help everyone out, but at the same time, you need to be as profitable as you can be because it's a business. And a lot of people, they don't understand that. So when you come out and you're giving a quote, and that's your time that you're giving for free, and then they, oh no, I'll go with someone cheaper, thanks. Like, thanks for your hour that you spent here. Not that you'd spend that long. Sometimes you do. For big jobs, you definitely do. 15 to 20 grand worth of work over time, because you can only do up to 5 grand in one hit. But if there's that much work, you can do that, but you just trickle it in over the year, whatever you've got to do to make sure that you're not going over that big lump sum every time. So as a handyman, you've got a limit. But if you're doing a painting job and that comes in under, and then if you're doing something else that's separate and that comes in, like, you can do that. And there's ways around it, but you've got to be smart about how you do it. And it's got to be within the legalities of everything, because you don't want that headache down the track. So it's one thing to keep in mind. Now I'm going to try and not get off track for you guys, but yeah, so when I post heartfelt posts or images or videos, or a major project, which is like what I'm doing now with this big deck restoration paint job, window restoring, like this, there's a lot of work at this property that we're doing. Beautiful property, just overlooking the beach. You can see it through the trees anyway, but it's the street back from the beach, just a beautiful little area. And they're the type of clients that, like I've spoken about in previous videos, they're the ones I tend to attract more so than others. Is the mid to high end range, which is not a reflection on the person. That's not what I'm talking about. It's a reflection on status, income, all the rest that comes along with that. And they're the clients that are willing to pay that little bit more for the quality. So when I'm saying that, not being disrespectful or discriminative, that's just the way I operate my business. You're going to operate yours how you want to do yours. And that's the thing, everyone's just got to do what they're going to do and fit it to what you need it to do. If any of that made sense. But yeah, so when I post these posts, I gain a minimum of 4 extra clients. That's off one post. Okay, so let that sink in. I gain 4. So when I need work, or if I'm after work in a couple of months' time, or if I need this, say, for next winter, I start lining people up now, even if it is for next year. And a lot of people are willing to wait, because it's a job that typically at the moment, especially with deck restorations, a lot of decks, you look at them and go, oh look, you could probably wait 12 months for this one, because it's still beading up and it's not soaking in yet, not penetrating the timber. It's not quite at the stage where it's going to rot the timber at all. So you're safe for another 12 months, say, and then so I can put you in the diary. Like, there's ways around it. There's things you can do, and sometimes weather happens. So these jobs can be brought forward or shifted. Like, you can do things. So with that, 4 extra clients. There's also around 10 on average, 10 leads on top of that. So out of them 10 leads, 4 people come on board. And whether that is for lawn mowing, whether that is for a handyman job, like I said, there's painting, deck restoration, pressure cleaning, all these other little niches, whatever you want to say, that I have. I also incorporate that into the post as much as I can. They go to my Facebook page, bang, it's all there. So with that, why would you want to walk around the streets, dropping flyers, doing the same old thing that for some people that works, and that's okay, because it has worked for myself. But at the same time, I look at it and go, all right, if I've dropped 100 flyers, if I've dropped 1,000, whatever, and I get 5, 10 clients out of that, and it took me hours upon hours to do that amount, or I spend half an hour is the average time. By the time I get home, I edit the photos just quickly on my phone. Honestly, it takes 2 minutes to edit them. The longest part is sharing to specific pages that apply to your trade and your industry, and what you're all about, and your local area, and to any other areas that you venture out into. And by doing that, that's where you're reaching literally thousands of people in a matter of 30 minutes. And that's the power of social media and what it's done for our business and for many other businesses that have jumped on board with this. And we're relatively new to it, yet it's been around for a while now. Especially myself, and I've spoken about it before, I never had Facebook before the business, so it was a big learning curve for me. But then once you get your head around it, it becomes very simple, the process. And like I said, as long as you're genuine and that comes across and comes through, and I hope it does through these videos, it resonates with people and they start to relate. And they also start to watch you grow, and they're happy to know that they've had some small part in helping you get there. And a lot of people, a lot of them have massive roles to play. I've got many regular clients that are honestly the bread and butter of the business. And so without fail, you'll just forever be thankful and grateful with people, and it gets returned tenfold. And that in return, it means regular work, or it means when you're in a bind, like these latest clients have said, if you need any extra work over winter, and I've spoken about that in previous videos as well, like, and to have that's massive. So that's the type of rapport and relationship you want to have with your clientele, and social media is just another way of doing that. So what else we got here for you guys? Yeah, we spoke about that. So a big tip also is advertising where your target market is. So look at Facebook groups, Facebook as a whole. For my type demographic, let's just say 30 to 60 is the premium range that I have, that know the quality they want, are willing to pay for it, and also they're the ones that I want to attract. Whereas anyone on Instagram typically are younger, and they're only just starting out or not even in their own home yet. So you got to look at that. If you're going to be pumping that and you're expecting a return via that, it's not going to be the same result as Facebook at this stage. 5 to 10 years, once they all start getting homes and things like that, they're going to need people like us. So then that's why I'm getting into Instagram now, feeding that along with affiliate marketing and all the rest that we're doing, which is slowly taking off, which is nice. But again, it's all to help the local community, help the business grow, which in turn helps the local community, which in turn helps everyone else prosper, because they're getting this quality service from a local, reliable industry trade, whatever you want to say, and they're gonna keep coming back. So the big goal is to franchise out, to keep growing, keep expanding, and that's how we're going to do it. And it's driven nearly solely and only by social media. There'll be websites, there'll be everything else coming along, there'll be billboards and all that, but the social media is the driving force. So once you get that down pat and you know when to post, what times to post, usually Tuesday nights at 7:30 is the golden time slot for some reason. Thursday nights, usually people are out late night shopping, they're not on their phones. Wednesday nights, they're looking sort of hump day, like some people are in, some people are soccer training, footy training, whatever they're doing. Tuesday night, 7:30, for whatever reason, still to this day, after 2 years, has been the delivery for everything else. Now, today being Thursday, I'm going to break that rule, and again, I did it last week, and I noticed the results weren't the same as if I posted on a Tuesday. So next Tuesday, there'll be a post, and this will be a comparison. The last 2 weeks I've done Thursdays, next week Tuesday, and I'll be able to see on the little information you got statistics, how many people it reached. And then the real-time thing for me is the likes on the business page for this latest business post has gone up nearly 100. But then by doing next Tuesday, after these 2 Thursdays, I guarantee that Tuesday will get me more results than the 2 Thursdays combined. So there's little things you got to learn, and just ways around things to make it all worthwhile. Nearly done. So that's it for what I've got for that side of it. But what I wanted to discuss just quickly is finding it like there's a fine line with spamming and coming across as annoying, as opposed to you're putting out a post in the hope that you're going to help somebody. And that is a big shift that I started to do a while ago, and even more conscious of it recently, because it's coming up a lot in podcasts, and it's true. You feel like you're annoying people because it's just, here we go, look at me. And that's not what we're about, but it's like you just want to get your name out there and you want people to know that you're here, like hello type thing, I'm right here. Because you see people still posting, I need someone to do this, and it's like, how do they still not know where we are or who we are? And it's amazing the amount of reach. We've barely scratched the surface. And it's exciting to know that we're still doing really well, and there's no shame or no bragging in that. You shouldn't feel bad if you are doing well especially in this environment, in what's going on around the world. But at the same time, you've got to be humble enough, grateful enough, and understand that people are the reason you're doing well. So you need to create relationships with them people. And social media is a great way of doing that. You feel like you know somebody. I met the local fireplace installer the other day, and it was as if I knew him my whole life. He's a top bloke, and we've had social media interactions for the last 2 years, and yet never met. And then as soon as you meet them in real life, it's as if you know them already, because when you are genuine, it is who you are, and it comes across through the camera, through the social media, through whatever means. That is going to be massive going forward. So hopefully that gives you some insight into what to do, guys. This has all just uploaded, so I'm going to go through, put it onto the actual software, get editing a little bit. Sorry if you didn't see me there. And that'll do. So thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe, and enjoy this footage. And see you next week. Bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it say how long it's got left? Top right corner.
It's just got a line through it.
Just put the push the screen. Then it should come up.
It says an hour 35.
See.
Just says battery level low, exchange battery.